This is Sherry Schreiber with The Naked Truth. Okay, I just uploaded a file about entitlement issues, teaching you what that means. It's not what you think, so maybe you should watch that one before you watch this one. But in any event, I want to give you some self-worth building tools that I've used in my consulting business for many, many, many years to try to help you eliminate your entitlement issues, your feelings of I'm not worthy or good enough, I'm not lovable, and all that other horse shit. So we're going to start with what I call the cancel tool. This tool is going to require that you be hyper vigilant about your thoughts, specifically the thoughts you give to you about you. So sometimes it's really helpful as we're bebopping along through life to think our thoughts out loud. And this can help us more readily identify the negative thoughts we use against ourselves. And those negative thoughts could be anything along the lines of, oh man, last year I did such and such this way, and I really, that was just so stupid. I wish I hadn't done that, and I'm a bad dog for doing it. So with this cancel tool, when we hear our negative tape that basically plays 24/7, even during our sleep, I mentioned this in another video, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm a piece of crap, I don't deserve anything good. When we hear that negative tape playing, we want to stop it in its tracks. And what we're going to do, even if you're just thinking these thoughts and you can catch yourself in the act thinking these thoughts, you're going to yell out, cancel! So that's in capital letters with a big exclamation point after it. Cancel! Like you really frigging mean it. And then you're going to replace that negative thought you've just whacked yourself in the head with some little trivial, everyday compliment to you. Something that you would take for granted about yourself. Never ever think to give yourself a little compliment, or what I like to call them, stroke on. So a compliment and a stroke are two of the same thing. So this could sound like, you punishing yourself over a past, what you think is a failure, or you shaming or guilting or criticizing yourself about virtually anything. And what you're going to want to do when you're alone, of course, is yell out, cancel! I'm having a good hair day. Or cancel! I did a good job flossing my teeth last night. Or cancel! I did a great job washing the dishes in the sink this morning from last night's dinner. Or cancel! I did a good job making my bed today. I don't give a fuck what it is. The more trivial it is, the more I'm going to like it. So itty bitty tiny little compliments or strokes to replace that negative thought you've just used against you. This is critical. This is important. It's not enough to cancel the negative thought. You've got to replace it with a positive toward you. Something a 4-year-old might be happy about hearing about her or himself, and be able to feel some pride about. Little tiny everyday stuff. No big grandiose compliments. You may be a terrific engineer, and you know that about yourself, but you don't own it. So this is helping you come to own things about yourself that you've typically never, ever recognized. Okay, obviously when you're out in public, Hang on, I had a hair hanging. Obviously, when you're not out in public, you're not going to yell cancel and replace with a little compliment to yourself out loud, because people will think you have Tourette's syndrome, and we don't want that. So you're marching down the grocery store aisle, wheeling your cart, and one of those negative, evil thoughts comes in the back of your psyche toward you. And you catch it. You're hypervigilant about catching these now, because we've got to completely dismantle and destroy this negative tape that wants to play 24/7, even in your sleep. So here comes that negative thought toward you. You're shaming yourself for not loving your borderline well enough, or whatever the fuck it is. And you're going to say, cancel. Under your breath, you're just going to whisper it, cancel. And then in your mind's eye, you're going to replace this canceled negative thought you've just clubbed yourself in the head with a little tiny positive. Something you can believe about you in the moment. Is this clear? Okay. This power tool requires hypervigilance, because that negative tape's been playing since you were 2 years old. You've been feeling unlovable and not good enough since you were 2 years old. And you gained vocabulary at that time, around 1.5, 2 years old. So you've been shaming and guilting and criticizing yourself ever since that time in your life. It has to stop. Yesterday was the last day you were allowed to do this to yourself. This is unacceptable. It's self-mutilating. It's masochistic. You're not allowed to do this anymore. I promise you, it doesn't matter how much therapeutic support you get. It doesn't matter how many years you're in treatment. If you continue beating up on yourself and being hard on yourself, you will never, ever become joyful and well. I can guarantee it unequivocally. All right, so now for the first 3 days, you'll be using this cancel tool. Cancel! You're going to be doing it constantly. It's going to seem like every other minute you're going to be yelling, cancel! And you're going to be saying, oh my God, that Sherry Schreiber, she's some kind of crazy woman. She's a charlatan. She's full of shit. She can't possibly mean for me to be doing this, yelling out cancel as often as this. Yeah, it's going to seem like every other minute you're having to use this tool. And I may be crazy, but there's a method in my madness. Now, I invented this tool for me many, many years ago, over half a lifetime ago, and it turned my life around, because nobody was harder on themselves than I used to be. So it's going to work for you. It's worked for all my other clients. It's going to work for you. This is tried and true. It will work. Excuse me, had an itch, not an inch. By the 4th or 5th day, if you are being really on top of this, if you're staying on top of this and being hyper vigilant, using this cancel tool, you're going to notice that those negative, abusive thoughts toward you are coming around a little less often, which means you're doing a great job. It's actually working. This tool is working for you. That's marvelous. Congratulations. By the end of a week and a half, 2 weeks at the very most, of using this cancel tool, you'll be noticing that a significant amount of depression is lifted. You won't be as heavy and depressed and sad and miserable as you've been. I promise you. Now, let me give you a kind of a metaphor for what you've been doing. If I gave you a big, heavy wooden club and I said, listen, my dear, I want you to take this big, heavy wooden club, maybe you guys can relate, like a Louisville Slugger baseball bat, And I want you to whack yourself in the head with this club as many times as you possibly can throughout your day and evening. Just whenever you think about it, take that big heavy wooden club and I want you to whack yourself in the head with it as hard as you can. And you did that for just 2 days. 2 straight days. Do you think you'd be in a lot of pain in your head after just 48 hours of this? Yes, you would, my darlings. And do you think if you were in that much pain, I'm imagining what people must feel when they get migraine headaches. And thank God I don't get them, but my sympathy goes to whoever does. So would your mood be light and cheerful and airy if you were in this much pain in your head from these self-beatings? No, it couldn't possibly be. So what affects the body affects the psyche. What affects the psyche affects the body. So we've got to stop beating up on ourselves. Do you understand? So with all this pain in our head and this depression because we're in so much pain that's been self-inflicted, will we have much energy, motivation, impetus to do even just simple life tasks? Maybe our laundry or washing the dishes in the sink? I mean, how much motivation, impetus, and energy will we have to get to the gym or just go do a nice shop at the grocery store and restock our refrigerator and cabinets with food? Not much at all, my dears. Not much at all. So every time that you catch yourself in the act of saying something mean, nasty, critical, shaming, guilting to yourself, you're robbing yourself of vital energy, and your mood immediately drops into depression. Immediately. This is instantaneous. People think, erroneously, if I drive myself really hard, I'll become successful. I got to drive myself. I got to stand over myself with a whip and drive myself really, really hard. No, my darlings, you haven't become successful because you've driven yourself hard. Any amount of success that you have attained has been probably a modicum of what your potential is. And it's only been in spite of driving yourself hard, because you'd have so much more energy and impetus and creative flow and ability to get things accomplished if you weren't constantly beating the shit out of yourself. So this needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. So I'm wanting you to be hypervigilant with this tool. Use it every single minute of every day. Again, as you go along and you're using this tool hypervigilantly, these negative thoughts toward you, these abusive comments toward you will slow down. That's when you know this tool is working. Try this. Do this. Please integrate this. It'll take you probably, depending on your age, if you're in midlife, and you've been beating yourself up to a bloody pulp every day since you were about 2, it's going to take you at least 2 years to really integrate this new way of treating yourself. I hope you do it. I hope to God you do it. Please take yourself down off the cross. Let yourself up off the mat. Stop torturing yourself. And by the way, the natural outcome of treating yourself better and stopping this and eliminating this negative tape altogether is going to be that your relationship bar goes much higher. You're not going to ever tolerate anybody who abuses you, because it won't be a match for what you do to yourself. Goodbye, good luck, and God bless.